and a half. Boom! All right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. She codes, she raises kids, she runs a profitable SaaS business. Let's hear what she's all about. Let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she's a full stack developer, a bootstrapped founder, and a mom who's shaking up the fitness tech space with a platform built to empower small studios. From zero experience to profitable SaaS business, today's guest is redefining what success looks like in tech. So let's welcome to the show, Ciara Azam. Ciara, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. I've listened before, and that when you call someone in, it's always so much louder than the rest of the podcast, and it is in real life too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot.
we got to get the energy as high as possible so we can have a good time on the show. That's my thought process. So welcome aboard. Let me start off by asking you a little bit about your background, and tell me, like, how did you get here? How are you helping people?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. I know how much work goes into running these, and even just the tech required to be able to put it all together. So thank you for your effort. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
And in terms of how did I get here, it started, so I was let go from my job. So I was a software developer, and they let go of the entire Canadian team. I'm Canadian. And so I was part of the people that was let go. So I wasn't expecting it. And then my friend said, "Hey, I have an app idea. So I'll take you out to lunch and I'll pitch the app idea to you." And I'm like, "Oh, I just lost my job. I don't feel good. I do not want to listen to people pitch app ideas to me." But, she's my friend. So I went out to lunch, and her idea was actually quite good, which was essentially right now in the dance space, when you run competitions, they're using gymnastics software. So she said, "Hey, can you build something for dance with rule sets for dance and everything made for us?" So I said, "Yeah, that's definitely something I can build if you can get people using it, because that's the big if. People might have good app ideas, but you need people to use it. I don't have $1 million sitting in a bank account to market, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we built the competition software, and then from there it just kind of snowballed, because then people were using it and they were saying, "Hey, can you build me something to manage my studio? Can you build something to do private lessons? Can you, do this and that and the other thing?" And it just kind of, what started as a little pet project is now a full-blown software. Like it's a pretty big beast. Yeah.
It's
So
incredible how in today's era, having a skill set is very valuable. I mean, we are living in a world of AI, so a lot of people fear that jobs are going to be shifting and losing and moving. But I feel like if you have a particular skill set and you have AI powered behind you, it's going to make you that much more effective at what it is that you do. I mean, when you're down and out like you were, having an opportunity to show up, you get pitched all the time. And I've always heard this from one of my mentors, Billy Jean. He says that there's no such thing as $1 million idea, only $1 million execution. Walk me through, like, so you get pitched, you build out the software. How'd you get users to come on board? How did you get to that point?
yeah, so actually, I believe, especially with software, that you should only launch when your product is ready. So you want to go really slow, get one use case, and then two, and then three, and go really, really slowly. Because those first few users will help you with finding bugs, making sure things work smoothly, and you offer it to them for free or close to free, right? Because that's kind of the agreement is, hey, you're going to help us, and
Mhm.
in exchange, you get to use it for free. because the biggest thing I've seen as a developer and with my friends who are also developers is companies will get funding from VCs, and then the VCs will push them. As soon as you get funding, you're suddenly pushed so hard to put out new features, new products, things like that. And sometimes taking it slow is what's best, and they just don't get that. So sometimes you might realize, let's say, for non-developers, I'll try to explain it in a good way, but let's say you build a house and you initially think it's going to be like 1,000 square feet, and then suddenly you realize it needs to be bigger, but you now have to reset that foundation. You kind of have to start over, make your foundation bigger, and then build up. But if you weren't initially expecting that, you have to be okay with tearing down whatever you've built on top of it to redo the foundations. And a lot of people just don't get that. Like, what, as soon as you hear, hey, we're going to blow apart the database and start over, people are like, oh no, what, you're going to redo everything? But it has to get done, and once it is, then you have this really nice scalable product. So I'd say start, if especially in software, just start slow, rebuild as many times as you need to until you get something really scalable and nice to work with.
When building an app, I only tried to build an app one time in my life, and it became one of the biggest money pits I've ever experienced. And mainly it's because I had a concept of an idea in my head when I first started. And as we started to implement and build, all of a sudden, like you're saying, I'm like, oh, well, we can add a window here, and we can add a little thing here, we can add this here. And all of a sudden, like, it goes from a small idea that you had to like this idea with so many tentacles going in so many different places that you never really build out that thing that you were going to build out. When people are deciding to build something like this and work on an app like that, how do you decide what's important, what to focus in on, and then remain on that similar track before you have to, tear it all down and build it again?
Yeah, so I would go with what's going to make you money. So, and it really sucks, but sometimes early on, you'll have a customer that will ask for a certain feature. And you really, each time you're getting a feature request, you kind of have to consider, will other people use it? And what's it going to cost me to build? Like, how many hours of development time will this be? And will it make it more confusing to other users, right? Because even let's say it takes me 5 minutes to do, if it's going to make it confusing for all the other users, I'm not going to implement it for that one customer, unfortunately, right? Because you want it to be simple, you want it to be easy to use, and then no matter how hard it is, even if you only have 2 customers, you kind of have to go to them and say, no, sorry, we're not going to build that for you. So that's number one, is being okay telling people, no, we want to keep, like, I kind of tell people that we're like the Canva option in the studio space, in the sense of we're very easy to use, but there are tools out there that can do more. They just take much longer. So we save sometimes, like, if for a big studio, we can save people like 40 hours a month of time. And that's because it is so simple to use. But then the downside is, if you are one of those people that needs that 10%, we just don't support it. And I don't think we ever will. So you have to be okay saying no to those people. And then aside from that, in terms of like deciding what gets worked on and how, when you're considering, it really just comes down to, how are you going to structure everything? How will everything talk to each other? And you can either do it, if you're a very visual person, you can draw it all out on whiteboards, and then other people can just do it in their head, where you can just kind of see how everything will connect to each other. So when you're adding in a new part, it has to fit nicely. If it doesn't fit nicely, then you have to restructure that whole area such that it does fit nicely. Because you can very easily kind of like cram things in when you're doing software development, and you can get it like working, but then later on it's going to be a problem. So basically, anytime where you feel like, I don't love this, don't do it. Workshop it until you're like, I like this. This is good, and it works cohesively with everything else.
Then
Yeah.
start implementing and building at that point. That makes sense. All right, so let's assume you got to the point where you had a finished product. You went through the case studies, you built it slowly, you have something that works, a viable model. Why is it that you went with pricing models that are radically different from other people in your industry? You went with a SaaS model, a rev share model versus flat fees. What was behind that decision, and how'd that work out for you?
Yeah, so most studios will charge a monthly fee and then they'll have tiers. So, you'll have the 49 USD per month, and some of them go up to 800 USD per month for different things. One, I hate tiered pricing. I hate it. I hate when you only give access to some, like if I'm a small studio, I should be able to get access to everything equally.
Mhm.
And I just believe that like it should be as easy to start a business and run it if you're small as if you're big. Like, I don't love that whole tiered system. So we just take a percentage of every ticket sold, 0.5 to 1.9%. So if you are generating like 50 grand a month in sales, we do lower the percentage. Um, but in general, the idea is we only make money when you sell tickets. So if you have a bad month or you're just starting out and you're only selling like 5 tickets to your classes, you can still use a really nice software and grow. And then the hope is that as people grow with us, they'll come to really like the software, and then switching away will be really difficult. Even if at the end, as a bigger studio, you might actually end up paying a little bit more using us than you would one of the competitors. But the interface is so nice, the customer service, like everything is so nice that you're like, oh, this is worth the extra money. So then they kind of see the value by growing with you. Because it is really tough if there's a huge studio to convince them to switch over, because they have to move all of their current customers. Their customers have to learn a new system, so it's a really tough sell. So in my opinion, when they're small, let's help them grow. Let's do our best to make their lives easy, and then we grow with them, kind of. That's the idea. And I guess in 10 years we'll find out if it works.
Right? Yeah, only time will tell,
Yeah.
essentially. Now, you actually have a background in dance, which is kind of a good thing to have, especially when you're building something for a dance studio, for example. How was your experience in like learning to dance? How did that help in building a platform? And even when it comes to talking to other studios to incorporate your software into their studio, how does that background help you out?
So I've been dancing socially. And what that means is I go out and people play salsa music and I just dance. And you change partners at each dance. And that's social dancing. It's really fun. I recommend it to everyone. So I wasn't like trained in dance. I just went around dancing. And then once I built this for my friend who is a professional dancer, um, I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go all in here software wise, I might as well go all in terms of dance as well. So I'm gonna train and I'm gonna go compete at an international competition. And I lost. I came last place. But I did train to the best of my ability and I tried my best. And I documented that, posted it on Instagram. So it also got some engagement and people started really liking the brand. Um, which you don't see. Like, you don't see a ton of people like, man, I love Eventbrite so much. But with Eventus, people like, we have a very, very loyal following of people who love the mission and love what we're trying to do. And I think it's because they love what I personally am doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and by the way, I have gone to one of those classes. One of those social dances. The wife and I went out, and it was definitely a fun time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend that you go. Even if you don't know how to do anything like me, right? Two left feet, you will still have a good time at one of those events. Earlier, you were talking about how if you wanted to add stuff in, you kind of want to map it out, make sure it fits correctly before you start building. Can you walk us through some of the tech stack architecture that you worked with Eventist, and what did you build yourself?
Yeah. So, wow. Okay. This is so exciting. I don't usually get to talk about technical things because usually people ask me about marketing or other things, but let's go. I'm excited. Okay. So one of the things that we do is, so you are, I guess, are you guys familiar with like AWS and cloud? Um,
Very little.
okay. So basically when you're creating a software, most people will pay Amazon, AWS, Amazon Web Services, or some other ones, but they're a really big one, and you pay them per use. So as people use your website, you're paying them for the use, and they charge a ton. It is much cheaper to either rent an entire machine or own your own machine and then pay for security. So you can store them in a secure server facility, and then you end up paying way less. So for example, our server costs are $120 per year flat fee, and that can serve about 500,000 people because we're not doing any video or really image handling. So it's low server wise. And then that takes more setup. So you have to set up the servers yourself. You have to maintain them yourselves, but you save so much. If I was running Eventus right now and paying AWS, our costs would be like probably 5 to 10,000 USD per month. So
Wow.
like the cost saving there is astronomical. So the first thing that I would say is yes, invest in that. Find people, if you don't know yourself, find people that will know how to set up their own servers, run them, and do that extra work. It is worth it. Like they don't cost $10,000 a month, or they might, but they can also do other things. It's not going to take them the whole month to do that. So that would be my first recommendation. Aside from that, we use a version of the T3 stack. So we're using like React on the front end and then TypeScript. And we also use TypeScript on the back end just for speed of development, but we might switch to Go, which is a Golang. It's I feel like this is landing this is too technical, but yeah, a version of the T3 stack, TypeScript on the front end and back end, just because it's quicker to get things out. And I think and we use Tan Stack instead of Next.js.
Dude, you guys are and when you have to make a change like that, I'm assuming that's not a big that can't be an all rebuild like you were talking earlier.
No,
You
it would.
It would be, you would have to rebuild everything from scratch.
Yeah, so you'd rebuild the back end in Go,
Mhm.
and then it would be, I guess, like there's some trade-offs, right? So it's speed of development versus like it would run faster, and you could maybe like manage some of your endpoints a little bit easier using Go, things like that. Yeah.
Big changes, big moves, but overall it makes a better experience for the user, I'm assuming. And the studio itself, right? It'll run faster,
No.
run easier.
Yeah, so it would run faster. Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
It's more just, I think it would make if I own my own company, I want to be able to build whatever I want, So like
Mhm.
it's more like this is
Yeah.
the if we switch to Go, because it would make my soul happy. I don't know if it would really help the customer that much, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Earlier, we talked a little bit about the pressures that VCs might put on any company that's growing pretty much at any pace. What were some of the advantages you saw with bootstrapping, and things that you've benefited now since you didn't grow with VC money? You were able to bootstrap your way. How do you feel that's allowed you to grow as a founder?
It just allows you to do whatever you want, right? I don't have to ask permission to post whatever I want on Instagram. Our Instagram is completely unserious. And I just figure if someone is bothered by what they see, like obviously it's not like it's not like vulgar, it's not but like I
Yeah.
just kind of like a news article picked us up and wrote an article about us today, so I posted a story saying, hey, the news found us, we're becoming famous, time to go get plastic surgery. Obviously that was a joke, but I don't want to have to run that by someone. I just kind
Yeah.
of want to be able to post it. I want to be able to be myself, and kind of, and same thing with the product. I want to be able to build what I want. Like for example, even just like product decisions, sometimes VCs will choose options that will make money in the short term, whereas I would rather eat the development cost and go for the long term and build out like a very sustainable software, and go that way. Like really just everything in my mind, good things take time. It might take like years and years and years and decades to like take over Eventbrite, but I'm okay with that. And if we had a VC, they really would be pushing us to produce and to make more money and to make the numbers look better. Whereas I care heavily about the product quality, customer service, and increasing human connection. So through dance, through events, through festivals, people need to get out more and they need to see other humans more. So if our software can help make more fitness studios, more dance studios, if we can help people build and grow, that's great in my opinion, and that's valuable, and we want to do a good job. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Nobody wants to look over their shoulder every time they're thinking about doing something. They just want to be able to go, move on to the next thing. That's that freedom that we're looking for when almost any entrepreneur builds a business. They want that freedom and flexibility. I totally agree with you. Let me ask you, a little while ago, we went deep into some tech, but how do you deal with or support studio owners who aren't tech savvy, especially when it comes to like onboarding or building their websites out?
Yeah, so in terms of tech, there's different ranges, right? We've had people that are using the software where I didn't even know they were using it, which means they made an account, they did everything themselves, they figured it out, and then we have other people who like need help doing an email verification, and you're on a call with them kind of wondering like, ma'am, is this your first day on the internet, like what is going on? So you get everything. But so we've tried to make it easy for people and intuitive and just the design and layout, but we also have little help buttons on every single page. If you click them, it takes you to a video that's hyperlinked exactly to that section, so you can see me in the video walking you through all of the different options, what everything does. And then if you need additional help, we have a call booking system. So you can book a call with someone pretty much anytime, to get one-on-one help, in which we, you know, will help you set up your event, whatever you're stuck with, and even outside of Eventist. Because right now, um, everyone on our team is a developer. We don't actually have any sales or marketing or customer service. So chances are, you know, if you're stuck, if you have a website with Wix, we can help you with whatever you need help with Wix, you know? And if they can't, then I have questions. So 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 in general, you'll be on a call with a qualified person who can help you with whatever it is you're needing help with.
You know, for a team of developers, you've picked up 38 studio clients. I mean, that's a congratulations in and of itself. It speaks to the quality of the product that you have.
That's
Let me
actually
ask.
since applying, I applied to be on. We're actually over 100 now.
Oh,
I
even
know.
better.
In the
You're
last
shaking some
month,
booty.
we've grown a lot in the last little bit. So,
Nice. Well,
yeah.
congratulations on that. Which brings me to the question I was gonna ask, which is more about your time management. I mean, you're a mom, you're launching a business, you're raising two kids. What's your time management playbook like?
Yeah, so I mean, part of the wanting to start your own company was actually to have more time with your kids, right? Because you,
Hmm.
like I said, I like being in charge of what I do. If things go more slowly, they go more slowly. And we do have, you know, full-time developers where it's their job to do the development. But if it's a nice day outside, I'm gonna spend the day, you know, I'll go get my kids from daycare early and go have a nice day. So it's just about that kind of stuff. And then after the kids go to bed, most days I will do some kind of work. And it's more if you find something you're passionate about. So let's say you're not a developer, but you're really passionate about fitness, or you're really passionate about something else, you should feel an urge of like, oh, you know what, I kind of feel like doing this. And for me, that's programming. So if I'm trying to get out a new feature, it's kind of like a puzzle for me, where I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to go work on this because I want to. So it's kind of like an unwind time, and I'll go work on the fun stuff when after the kids go to bed. And yeah. So it's just like balancing. And then my tip for other parents out there is make your life as easy as possible. So,
Hmm.
for example, I own all of the same black socks, and my children all own the same socks. And then you never have to match socks,
I
because
love that.
you throw them in a bucket, right? Like if you don't have to, then don't. And I don't fold anything, because what's the point? You fold it and then you unfold it. So I just have buckets on the ground for my shirts, their pants. And then because they're little, they're 2 and 4 years old, they can actually sort the laundry themselves. So you let them know, oh, it's laundry time. And they're so excited and so happy. And then they just go through and pick out a shirt. They're like, is this mama's shirt or my shirt? And they sort it. And it's just, and then you don't even have to do laundry. And people without kids won't, they'll be like, yeah, whatever. But people with kids realize how much laundry there is to do and how much time you can save by doing this. You save like probably 6 hours a week just on laundry right there. So black socks and don't fold anything.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. However, I'm gonna give you this little one. The laundry was kind of my little love language thing. It was kind of my way of telling my kids I love them. I always fold all their clothes, roll up all their underwear, pair all their socks, put it in a nice little pile. Now I don't put it in their drawers because I don't, you know, that's a little bit different. I got teenagers now, so definitely not going in some
Yeah.
of their drawers. But you're right, it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah,
And but by the same token, that's the freedom that you get, is how do you want to use your time. And
exactly.
if laundry is the thing that you hate and you don't want to do it, by all means you should develop a schedule that allows you to not have to do that.
But then, you know, that
Yeah.
extra time that you get back, you can go to the park, you can go
Yes.
to go do other things. And I'm sure people have heard this before, but when you can outsource, do.
Yeah.
So, if you, and not everyone has the funds, but if you have the funds to hire someone to come clean your house and do like the vacuuming and mopping and the hard stuff every week, do it. That frees up your, like how much, it's at least in Canada here, it's like $30 an hour. And then I can spend that hour doing other things, right? So it's kind of like just
Anything.
cut out anything from your life that you don't have to be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Buy your time back. That's really the only thing that
Yeah,
you can spend money on that has value in your life, is to buy that time back for you
exactly.
to do whatever you want, even if you're doing nothing, laying around, relaxing. If that's what you want to do with that time, by all means, it's your choice and you've afforded yourself the ability to do that. What advice would you give to developers out there or moms who want to launch their own SaaS without investors or co-founders? What advice would you give them to help get them started?
Get good developers. So I'll say right off the bat, I'm a decent developer. There's a huge difference between a decent developer and a great developer. It's like any skill set. There are phenomenal developers out there, and it will make a difference. When we talk about building things with AI, I kind of view AI as a helpful tool, but the quality of code it produces is not very good. So you're not going to be able to build anything super huge or scalable with it. So if you're like building a tiny little app that does like two things, you might be able to. But if you're trying to build like a platform, you need good developers and you need to take time to build it, is the biggest advice I could give everyone. And in the long run, yeah, have your own servers. That's actually why AWS, Amazon Web Services, existed. Is they were hiring servers, like Amazon used other people's servers, realized it was expensive and said, no, you know what, we're going to invest in our own. They bought all the infrastructure and then they started renting it out to other people. And now AWS makes more for Amazon than all of Amazon does. So like they make the bulk of their money off of their servers. And so it's like the easy option, and they'll give startups credits. They'll say, hey, you'll get $100,000 in free credits. And that's what gets you. People are go, $100,000, that'll last me forever. No, it won't. It'll last you like a year. And then you're going to be spending $100,000 a year to use their services. So
And
yeah.
by that time, you're probably stuck where you didn't want to be stuck, right?
Yes. And then it's very hard to migrate away from it. Yeah. Like it's
That
not impossible, but it is difficult. Yeah.
that definitely gets difficult. Well, if people want to find out more about Eventus, maybe they have a dance studio, maybe they're in that fitness space. What's it like to get started? Walk me through, if I'm a newbie, what can I expect going there, getting started, or to find
Yeah.
out more information?
So if you already own a studio, it's going to be a question of, okay, what do we use? And we, for the most part, can migrate all of your data over with a lot of the other platforms. So if you already own one, it's like pretty easy. And then it's just timing. When do you want to launch the new classes? Because your users will have to go from whatever they're using now to using Eventus. So it's going to be working with you. What would be the best time for you to make that switch? And then we'll make that happen on our end. If you're a brand new user, it's going to be a question. You actually get like more of the business help, in the sense of it's going to be, okay, are you renting space from someone else? How do you want to run classes? Do you want help looking for space? Things like that. Like, let's get you so that you have a spot to run those classes. Once that happens, it only takes about 20 minutes to set up for a small studio. We help you set up the classes. We help you set up your Stripe account so that the money can go into your bank account. If you've never created one before, we'll help you create that as well. And then at the end of the call, you have a fully functioning product. If you ever have questions, you can book another call or you can email, whatever works best. And yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Like I said, some people have just gone and used it and they find it okay. And then other people, not so much. And both are okay. Some people are a little bit afraid of technology, and not in a bad way. It's called technophobia, but some people just want someone on a call with them while they set it up, and that just makes them feel better. And there's no judgment. Like that's fine. I don't view that negatively. If you just want someone on a call to chat with you while you set it up, happy to be there, and I'll answer questions if you hit them. Yeah.
That's the key, right? Sometimes with the tech, it's not really that is difficult. It's just unfamiliar. And you
Yes,
have to have
exactly.
somebody who's there that kind of holds your hand, says, yes,
Exactly.
that's the right button to push. You're okay. Keep
Yeah.
going. You're doing the right thing. I love that you have that support. We got a couple minutes here. So I was going to ask you, um, now you've over 100 clients. I'm sure you have that one or two that kind of stick out in your mind that are that success story. Really quick, share one of those stories that sticks out in your mind where they were maybe having a struggle prior to, or maybe they're just getting started and they've had success using Eventus.
Yeah, so I think one of them would be she's actually just starting out, so it's ncdance.ca, and she's just starting running classes. So she started with just private lessons where you can book private lessons with her in the region, and she'll either do in-home where she goes to your house or in person where you go to her house. And then from there, she started renting studio space. She started running an event locally, like a local social, and that's been going really well. And she's running it all through Eventus. So she would be a case where she started from doing absolutely nothing. Like obviously she's a dancer, but she wasn't teaching on her own, and she's trying to build up her way to a studio. And I think she's doing a great job. And then another one, which I guess you said what sticks out in my mind, we have a sex club using Eventist.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
and it's because I reached out to them because I thought they were a studio. So I was doing a cold email campaign, and I reached out, and their like email kind of sounded like a dance studio. And then I was emailing back and forth, and it took like 6 emails for me to realize, oh, this is not a dance studio. But they still do ticketing. So they ended up using Eventist, and I'm like, so yeah, I guess they're doing all right, but it definitely stands out in my mind.
That definitely works. I mean, you know what? Sometimes we build a product or service that we have an intention for it to work one way, and you just find out that
Yeah.
you did such a great job. It works for other avenues as well. So
And,
well, kudos for that one.
My dad, because I was telling my dad about it, and he was like, "Oh, you know what you should say?" He was like, "You should say, that we're Eventus saves people time, and then tell people that, tell people about the sex club, and then let them know that, we give them time back so that they can do what they love, each other." And I was like, that's pretty good, but I don't think I'm comedic enough to pull that off.
But that one's great. That was a great tagline. All right, ladies and gents. So eventus.ca, that's the name of the website scrolling across the bottom. If you have a dance studio or maybe a sex club, I don't know, whatever it is, or you're selling tickets and you need a new opportunity, something that can kind of help you get to a point where maybe you're just starting out and you want to be to the point where you have a full studio, this might be the place for you to go. You don't have any long-term commitments. You're not getting charged any studio fees all the time. It's just based on your ticket sales. It's a great opportunity for those of you who want to get started in this space. Eventus.ca is the website. Any final thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, I was just going to say that if anyone wants, just for your listeners, because everyone, or I would assume a lot of the people listening, are looking to build and grow their business. So if you think Eventus can help you, if you reach out to us on Instagram at eventus.ca, so same thing, you send us a message and just send the word podcast, message me, and then we'll give you special pricing just as a thank you, lifetime special pricing as a thank you for listening and for the hustle, right? Like I could admire the hustle of anyone trying to make it.
Oh, appreciate that. All right, ladies and gents, eventus.ca. It's both the website and it's the handle for Instagram. Send them a message, podcast, and get that special pricing for life. So it benefits you when you're first getting started, keeps more money in your pocket when you're at the end of the game, or maybe higher levels, because I don't think there's really the end of the game there. You get better and better as time goes on. Well, thank you very much, Ciara, for being on the podcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, eventus.ca. Make sure you guys get out there, get your business rolling. Bootstrapping, I love bootstrap stories, are the way to go. And this is a bootstrap company that got started on their own, develops a great product, and they're giving it back to you in a way where you can bootstrap your company as well. Ciara, thank you for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you guys today. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast. But not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz to get started today.